So Elon Musk made this tweet yesterday. He said, what really happened with the Hunter Biden story suppression by Twitter will be published on Twitter at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're double checking some facts. We'll probably start live tweeting in about 40 minutes. So this has come out yesterday. It's big nothing. Well, let's see what it says. The Twitter files. What you're about to read is the first installment of a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files tell an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It is a Frankenstein tale of a human-built mechanism grown out of the control of its designer. Twitter, in its conception, was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass messaging, making a true real-time global conversation possible for the first time. In early conception, Twitter has lived up to its mission statement of giving people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. As time progressed, however, the company slowly was forced to add those barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. Slowly, over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well. First a little, then more than often, then constantly. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. And I'm sure people have looked these tweets up. Do any of these tweets still exist? Yeah, all of those tweets that were deleted were porn. Is that true? No, but they were revenge porn. If the tweets were revenge porn, then I don't have any problem with Twitter deleting them. They were dick pics, yes. It's Hunter's dick pics. I think that Twitter deleting revenge porn is not a bad thing. Yeah, I would say this is not a bad thing. Deleting revenge porn is not a bad thing. Revenge porn and personal shit leaked? Yes. Hot take, brave take. Well, what I mean is that there are a lot of people who think that it's okay for that because Hunter Biden's a public figure, right? Yeah, you're right. It's not a hot take, but I think there would be people that would be mad that I'm saying this because they don't like Hunter Biden, and so they would want the revenge porn posted. Next one here, I grabbed the first one under SI, defer to safety on the high-profile second one. And so this is another post. Celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both Trump White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. However, this system wasn't balanced. It was based on context. Because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation, yeah, I wonder which one that is. There were more channels, more ways to complain, and more open to the left, while Democrats than the right. So here we go. Contributions by party of recipient. So these are, I've seen this chart before, and I'm just making sure that I'm right about this. This image here is an image of contributions that Twitter employees made to different parties while they were at Twitter. Is that correct? I just want to make sure. Yes. Yeah, I've seen this before. Okay. So, 96% in 2018. I know you guys can't read it. Let me just zoom out. Yeah, you guys see 2018. And this is also almost $1 million, 98% to Democrats. 2022, 99.79% to Democrats. Republicans got $451. So this is obviously, this tells a very one-sided story. Yes, Republicans have received $451 this cycle from Twitter. Okay. This system wasn't bound. Oh, yeah, we read that. Okay, yeah, that's open secrets, and that's the whole thing, right? I saw the picture. I didn't even notice there was a link. The resulting start in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents that you're about to read. However, it's the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. Okay, there was one more throat clearing about the process, but screw it, let's jump forward. The Twitter files, part 1. How and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. On October 14th, 2020, New York Post published Biden's secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. I don't know why it is that Hunter Biden, like, it doesn't matter, like, who is, like, I feel like Hunter Biden has taken more pictures of himself doing crimes than every hip-hop artist in the last 40 years put together. It's nuts. Like, the guy's like, fuck it, like, that's all he does is he just takes pictures and selfies of himself doing crack. It's crazy, man. Yeah, it's nothing to do with government. Yeah, all right. Anyway, crack and hookers. Yeah, they hate him because he's cool. I have kind of a different opinion of Hunter Biden. I think Hunter Biden's life is absolute fucking garbage, and it's probably horrible. So if he's doing crack and fucking hookers, I'm not surprised. His fucking brother died. His dad has had like 3 brain surgery operations. His mom's fucking dead. He grew up with his dad being massively famous in politics, probably completely fucked up his life growing up. Now he's involved mildly in politics, but is only referred to probably in context of his dad. Like, whenever you think about every single bad thing that happened to him and how this would affect somebody's life, whenever you put all these things together, yeah, it's no surprise he's a crackhead. Yeah. Yeah, rich people problems? I don't know. I mean, having your brother and your mother die? I feel like this is pretty bad. I mean, I know that there are people that live in resentment of rich people, and so any sort of empathy is impossible for them. But I think that these things are bad. No excuse, though? I don't think it's a big deal he smokes crack. He can smoke crack all he wants. I don't care. What do you think? I'm going to give a fuck about him smoking crack? Why? What is it? Doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, being rich gives you opportunities, including ones to destroy your life. Oh, no, that's not true. Poor people destroy their life just fine, too. Let's see here. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases, i.e. child pornography. White House spokesperson Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about a story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who said, at least pretend to care about this for the next 20 days. So this is an email about how her account got locked. We're not going to look at the whole thing. Obviously, they're pissed off. This led to public policy executive Caroline Storm to send out a polite what the fuck query. Several employees noted that there was tension between the comms and policy teams who had little or less control over moderation than the safety teams. Hi, team. Are you able to take a look here? Thank you. Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked materials policy. Oh, I see. So because it was a hacked material, it was removed for that policy. Okay. Yeah, although several sources recalled hearing about a general waiting from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, that there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement of the laptop story, in fact, might have been a problem. The decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal, policy, and trust, Vijay Gadde, I don't know if I said her name right, hopefully I did, playing a key role. They just freelanced it, is how one of the former employees characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everybody realized it wasn't going to hold, but no one had the guts to reverse it. Okay, yeah, that seems... The fact that they censored it is a telling point. It's just weird. They knew it could hurt the big guy in the election, except it wasn't. It was a story about not actual hacked material put on Twitter, so that doesn't make sense at all. Well, look, I mean, like, if Twitter was the one suppressing WikiLeaks whenever they were leaking that, you know, like, that there was, like, cover-ups for, like, fucking, like, soldiers getting killed and shit like that in the Iraq War, and then Twitter deletes it because they say we have a policy against hacked materials, I think everybody would assume that they're bad. So like the idea that hacked materials are fundamentally bad is true in almost all cases, but whenever it's information that is important to the public to know, I think this is obviously thrown out the window. So you could apply this logic to many other cases too, and immediately see that it's fucking ridiculous. So I don't agree that, oh, because it's the policy, that's okay for them to do it. They aren't hacked though, but sharing a news story from New York Post was removed. Yes, but the logic that they are using is that because the New York Post got the information through hacking, that the news story would be removed because the news story was built around hacking. That's what they said. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what they said. So let's see here. You can see the confusion and follow the lengthy exchange, which ends up with GatDany and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth, a comms official, Trendy Right. I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking it as unsafe. I think the best explainability argument for this externally would be that we're waiting to understand the story is a result of hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some kind of solid reasoning for marking the link unsafe. Will we also mark similar stories as unsafe? And it's a Fox News story. Okay. By this point, everybody knew this was fucked, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err on. Okay. Why is this warning that came up when you click the link? See, it's a generic unsafe URL message. Not ideal, but it's the only thing that we have. Given the severe risks here and the lessons of 2016, we're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. Okay. Former VP of Global Comms, Brandon, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy? Are we limiting visibility of related stories on Twitter while our investigation is ongoing? Okay. Twitter former Deputy Counsel Jim Baker, again, seems to advise staying the non-course because caution is warranted. Yeah, they're worried about getting sued or something like that. Sure. A fundamental problem with tech companies and content moderation. Many people in charge of speech know / care little about speech and have to be told the basics by outsiders, to wit. In one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reaches out to GatDany to gently suggest that she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democratic official I could find in the files who expressed concern. Generating huge backlash on the Hill re-speech. Happy to chat if you're up for it. Okay. All right, that's slightly substantial. They're worried about getting arrested for First Amendment. Yeah, exactly. GatDany replies quickly, immediately diving into the weeds of Twitter policy, unaware Khanna is more worried about the Bill of Rights. Okay, I'm not going to read out this whole thing. It's not permanently suspended. We requested that she delete the tweet containing the material that is in violation of our rules, and her account is restricted until she complies. I'd be happy to jump on the phone if helpful. My team in DC are copied here and are also available to discuss. Okay. And let's see here. Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment mention, which is generally hard to find in the files. Okay. This seems to be a violation of First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose a serious war crime and the New York Times was to publish it, I think the New York Times should have that right. A journalist should not be held accountable for the illegal actions of the source unless they actively aided the hack. So to restrict the distribution of the material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in keeping with the principles of the New York Times versus Sullivan, which I'm assuming is some sort of a legal case. This is, I say this as I told a Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong, but the story now has become more about censorship than a relatively innocuous emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it would have been. It's also leading to serious efforts to curtail Section 230, which many of which may have been a mistake. So she's actually, yeah, I mean, she's actually fucking saying this to Twitter. Wow. I believe Twitter itself should curtail what it recommends or puts on trending news. And your policy against QAnon groups is all good. It's a hard balance. But in the heat of a presidential campaign, restricting dissemination of newspaper articles seems like it will invite more backlash than it will do good. That's true, and that's exactly what happened. She was right. Within a day, the head of public policy, Warren Kubertson, receives a ghastly letter report from Carl Szabo in the research of NetChoice, which had already polled 12 members of Congress, 9 Republicans and 3 Democrats from the House Judiciary. Okay, the staffers hail from the gather info about the story. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what the rest of this is. NetChoice lets Twitter know a bloodbath awaits in upcoming Hill hearings, with members saying it's a tipping point, complaining tech has grown so big they can't even regulate themselves, so government may need to intervene. Wow. Wow, look at that. This is the same shit I've been saying for a while. Look at that. What a fucking surprise. Holy shit. Let's see what the rest of this is. Yeah, here it comes. All right. We just asked how bad the situation is. One staffer said, it's tech's Access Hollywood moment, and it has no Hillary to hide behind. Others were more blunt. Tech is screwed, and rightfully so. Szabo reports that Twitter Hill figures are categorizing laptop story as tech's Access Hollywood moment. Okay. Twitter files continued. The First Amendment isn't absolute. Szabo's letter contains chilling passages relaying Democratic lawmakers' attitudes. They want more moderation. As for the Bill of Rights, it's not absolute. The Democrats, meanwhile, complained that the companies are inept. They let conservatives muddy the water and make the Biden campaign look corrupt, even though Biden is innocent. They linked this to Hillary Clinton's email scandal. She did nothing wrong, but because the press wouldn't let the story go, it became a scandal far out of proportion. In their mind, social media is doing the same thing. If it doesn't moderate enough harmful content, so when it does, like it did yesterday, it becomes a story. If the companies moderated more, conservatives wouldn't even think to use social media for disinformation, misinformation, and otherwise. So basically, the Democrats are mad because they were effectively using this. They did it too overtly. Yeah, that's effectively what happened. Yeah, they did it too overtly, and now they're making everybody look bad. The First Amendment doesn't apply to private companies like Twitter. People are stupid. I'm not sure, actually, with this. I don't know yet. The Democrats were in agreement. Social media needs to moderate more because they're corrupting democracy and making all truth relative. When pushed on how the government might insist on that constituent First Amendment, they demurred. The First Amendment isn't absolute. Yeah, what a surprise about that. An amazing subplot of the Hunter Biden laptop story affair is how much was done without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey and how it was done. How long it took for the situation to get unfucked, even after Dorsey jumped in. Holy fuck. There are multiple instances of Dorsey intervening to question suspensions and other moderation actions for accounts across the political spectrum. The problem with Hack's materials ruling, several sources said, was that this normally required an official law enforcement finding of the hack, but in such finding never appears throughout the one executive describes a whirlwind 24-hour company-wide mess. It's been a whirlwind of 96 hours for my tutors, so much to come, including answers about issues like shadow banning, boosting follower accounts, the fate of various individual accounts, and more. These issues are not limited to the political right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for all that picked up the phone the last few days. Holy shit. Wow. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think that, like, it's obvious that, like, the thing is, like, if you were a political party, you would obviously want to stack the deck. This is clearly what you're going to try to do. You're going to do whatever you possibly can to win. You're going to scam people out of stuff. You're going to suppress things that make you look bad. You're going to promote things that make you look good. You're going to cheat however you possibly can. Yeah, that's the goal of politics. Exactly, yes. They're always going to try and do this. Stock control of information, yes. I don't think this was as big of a deal as people made it out to be. A lot of people said this was a nothing burger. I would not say this is a nothing burger, but it is not a smoking gun either. It just seems that there was obvious problems with the moderation. They were removing things. Now, I don't think that you can conclusively say that they were doing it to appease Democrats specifically. But with the amount of donations and what direction those donations were going in, it's easy to come to that assumption. So, yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Big First Amendment problem is that the government told them to censor it. That could happen. I mean, this is my opinion about all, like, social media stuff, okay? I am very much worried about social media being like way too powerful and way too influential and not having any sort of governmental oversight. I am 100% for regulation of social media. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm 100% in favor of this. Now, it's too late for it. I don't think it's too late at all. The problem is the government. What the fuck? I don't think so. Too late. Too much Black Mirror stuff for me. That's regulating free speech. Well, I think that really these companies are already regulating free speech. I understand that there are a lot of people who hear regulation and they think that it's a bad thing, but I would just please ask you to consider the fact that every single thing that you are dealing with is regulated. Your internet is regulated. The type of monitors that you buy is regulated. Your power is regulated. Your water is regulated. The roads are regulated. The car you drive around in the roads with is regulated. And to say, and it shouldn't be? Yeah, I bet so. You know, next time you buy a car and it's not regulated and the gas doesn't work or the brakes don't work, I'm sure you're not going to be saying that. Yeah, everything is fucking regulated. So the idea that social media should not be regulated because regulation is categorically bad is fucking stupid. You want regulation so you don't get poisoned? Yeah, exactly. The food you eat is regulated. Exactly. Yeah, regulation equals accountability. There needs to be accountability to this kind of stuff. Like, anybody who thinks that a private company that is owned by international interests, it is a good thing that a private company that is owned by international interests is having an influence on elections with no oversight or accountability to the government. If you think this is a good thing, you are fucking insane. Crypto is a good example of unregulated equals suckers getting scammed. Yeah, it's a good point. The issue is who regulates. Who gets the power and rights to regulate what? Well, you do, because you're the fucking voter and you can vote for people to regulate it the way that you want. That's the way it works. That's the way it's always worked. And before you say your vote doesn't matter, go tell that to somebody that lives in North Korea or China. Your vote absolutely fucking matters. Grow the fuck up. If you trust elections. Yes, unfortunately now that we've had the recent events, with the 2020 election, from now on, every single election is fake. Yeah, this is just what's going to happen. Like, anytime somebody loses an election, it's not because of some other bullshit. It's actually because of some sort of like interference or bullshit like that.